Remember that the Bihar elections are about to begin. COVID-19 is something that there is no getting away from just yet. The Prime Minister's speech...
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, नमस्कार। कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई में जनता कर्फ्यू से लेकर आज तक हम सभी भारतवासियों ने बहुत लंबा सफर तय किया है। समय के साथ आर्थिक गतिविधियों में भी धीरे धीरे तेजी नजर आ रही है। हम में से अधिकांश लोग अपनी जिम्मेदारियों को निभाने के लिए फिर से जीवन को गति देने के लिए रोज घरों से बाहर निकल रहे हैं। त्योहारों के इस मौसम में बाजारों में भी रौनक धीरे धीरे लौट रही है, लेकिन हमें ये भूलना नहीं है कि लॉकडाउन भले चला गया हो, वायरस नहीं गया है। बीते 7-8 महीनों में प्रत्येक भारतीय के प्रयास से भारत आज जिस संभली हुई स्थिति में है, हमें उसे बिगड़ने नहीं देना है और अधिक सुधार करना है। आज देश में रिकवरी रेट अच्छी है, फैटेलिटी रेट कम है। भारत में जहां प्रति 10 लाख जनसंख्या पर करीब 5,500 लोगों को कोरोना हुआ है, वहीं अमेरिका और ब्राजील जैसे देशों में ये आंकड़ा 25,000 के करीब है। भारत में प्रति 10 लाख लोगों में मृत्यु दर 83 है, जबकि अमेरिका, ब्राजील, स्पेन, ब्रिटेन जैसे अनेक देशों में ये आंकड़ा 600 के पार है। दुनिया के साधन संपन्न देशों की तुलना में भारत अपने ज्यादा से ज्यादा नागरिकों का जीवन बचाने में सफल हो रहा है। आज हमारे देश में कोरोना मरीजों के लिए 90 लाख से ज्यादा बेड्स की सुविधा उपलब्ध है। 12,000 क्वारंटाइन सेंटर्स है। कोरोना टेस्टिंग की करीब 2,000 लैब्स काम कर रही है। देश में टेस्ट की संख्या जल्द ही 10 करोड़ के आंकड़े को पार कर जाएगी। कोविड महामारी के खिलाफ लड़ाई में टेस्ट की बढ़ती संख्या हमारी एक बड़ी ताकत रही है। सेवा परमो धर्म के मंत्र पर चलते हुए हमारे डॉक्टर, हमारे नर्सिस, हमारे हेल्थ वर्कर्स, हमारे सुरक्षाकर्मी और भी सेवा के भाव से काम करने वाले लोग इतनी बड़ी आबादी की निस्वार्थ सेवा कर रहे हैं। इन सभी प्रयासों के बीच ये समय लापरवाह होने का नहीं है। ये समय ये मान लेने का नहीं है कि कोरोना चला गया या फिर अब कोरोना से कोई खतरा नहीं है। हाल के दिनों में हम सब ने बहुत सी तस्वीरें, वीडियो देखे हैं जिनमें साफ दिखता है कि कई लोगों ने अब सावधानी बरतना या तो बंद कर दिया है या बहुत ढिलाई ले आए हैं। ये बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है। अगर आप लापरवाही बरत रहे हैं, बिना मास्क के बाहर निकल रहे हैं, तो आप अपने आप को, अपने परिवार को, अपने परिवार के बच्चों को, बुजुर्गों को उतने ही बड़े संकट में डाल रहे हैं। आप ध्यान रखिए, आज अमेरिका हो या फिर यूरोप के दूसरे देश, इन देशों में कोरोना के मामले कम हो रहे थे, लेकिन अचानक से फिर से बढ़ने लगे हैं और चिंताजनक वृद्धि हो रही है। साथियों, संत कबीरदास जी ने कहा है, पक्की खेती देखी के, पक्की खेती देखी के गर्व किया किसान, अजहू जोला बहुत है, अजहू जोला बहुत है, घर आवे तब जान। अर्थात कई बार हम पक्की हुई फसल देखकर ही अति आत्मविश्वास से भर जाते हैं कि अब तो काम हो गया, लेकिन जब तक फसल घर न आ जाए तब तक काम पूरा नहीं मानना चाहिए। यही कबीरदास जी कह के गए हैं। यानी जब तक सफलता पूरी न मिल जाए, लापरवाही नहीं करनी चाहिए। साथियों, जब तक इस महामारी की वैक्सीन नहीं आ जाती, हमें कोरोना से अपनी लड़ाई को रत्ती भर भी कमजोर नहीं पड़ने देना है। बरसों बाद हम ऐसा होता देख रहे हैं कि मानवता को बचाने के लिए युद्ध स्तर पर पूरी दुनिया में काम हो रहा है। अनेक देश इसके लिए काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे देश के वैज्ञानिक भी वैक्सीन के लिए जी जान से जुटे हैं। भारत में अभी कोरोना की कई वैक्सीन पर काम चल रहा है। इनमें कुछ एडवांस स्टेज पर है, आशास्पद स्थिति दिखती है। साथियों, कोरोना की वैक्सीन जब भी आएगी, वो जल्द से जल्द प्रत्येक भारतीय तक कैसे पहुंचे, इसके लिए भी सरकार की तैयारी जारी है। एक एक नागरिक तक वैक्सीन पहुंचे, इसके लिए तेजी से काम हो रहा है। साथियों, रामचरितमानस में बहुत ही शिक्षाप्रद बातें हैं, सीखने जैसी बातें हैं, लेकिन साथ साथ अनेक प्रकार की चेतावनियां भी हैं। जैसे रामचरितमानस में बहुत बड़ी बात कही गई है, रिपु रुज पावक पाप, रिपु रुज पावक पाप, प्रभु अहि गनीय न छोट करी। अर्थात आग, शत्रु, पाप यानी कि गलती और बीमारी, इन्हें कभी छोटा नहीं समझना चाहिए। जब तक इनका पूरा इलाज न हो जाए, इन्हें हल्के में नहीं लेना चाहिए। इसलिए याद रखिए, जब तक दवाई नहीं तब तक ढिलाई नहीं। त्योहारों का समय हमारे जीवन में खुशियों का समय है, उल्लास का समय है। एक कठिन समय से निकलकर हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। थोड़ी सी लापरवाही हमारी गति को रोक सकती है, हमारी खुशियों को धूमिल कर सकती है। जीवन की जिम्मेदारियों को निभाना और सतर्कता, ये दोनों साथ साथ चलेंगे तभी जीवन में खुशियां बनी रहेगी। 2 गज की दूरी, समय समय पर साबुन से हाथ धुलना और मास्क लगाना, इसका ध्यान रखिए। और मैं आप सबसे करबद्ध प्रार्थना करता हूं, आपको मैं सुरक्षित देखना चाहता हूं, आपके परिवार को सुखी देना चाहता हूं। ये त्योहार आपके जीवन में उत्साह और उमंग भरे, ऐसा वातावरण चाहता हूं। और इसलिए मैं बार बार हर देशवासी से आग्रह करता हूं। मैं आज अपने मीडिया के साथियों से भी, सोशल मीडिया में जो सक्रिय हैं उन लोगों से भी बड़े आग्रह से कहना चाहता हूं कि आप जागरूकता लाने के लिए, इन नियमों का पालन करने के लिए जितना जन जागरण अभियान करेंगे, ये आपकी तरफ से देश की बहुत बड़ी सेवा होगी। आप जरूर हमें साथ दीजिए, देश के कोटि कोटि जनों को साथ दीजिए। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, स्वस्थ रहिए, तेज गति से आगे बढ़िए और हम सब मिलकर के देश को भी आगे बढ़ाएं। इन्हीं शुभकामनाओं के साथ नवरात्र, दशहरा, ईद, दीपावली, छठ पूजा, गुरु नानक जयंती समेत सभी त्योहारों की सभी देशवासियों को एक बार फिर से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। धन्यवाद।
Tell me the myth. Minister Modi, as India Today had told you, the Prime Minister's message was singularly focused as an appeal to the people of India to take caution ahead of the festive season and not loosen their guard, not weaken their guard. The Prime Minister directly and explicitly mentioning that he has seen videos of many violations, and like we've highlighted here on India Today, those violations have been taking place at nightclubs, at shops, at marketplaces and at political rallies in Bihar. The Prime Minister issuing a stern warning, saying it's no time for complacence, no time to believe the corona threat is over. He said he has seen those videos and he has said if the people are careless at this time and roam without masks, they endanger themselves, their family, their children and their elders. The Prime Minister's speech, India Today once again bang on target. No speculation, we had it right. Prime Minister's corona warning message and appeal ahead of the festive season. The Prime Minister also assuring the people of India that a nationwide vaccine rollout plan is ready, and as and when the vaccine arrives, every single Indian citizen will receive it very, very rapidly. The Prime Minister said, until the vaccine arrives, we cannot loosen our stance against corona even slightly. Our scientists are toiling towards a vaccine. And when the vaccine comes, it will be supplied to every Indian very, very quickly. Let's play out for you once again the highlights of this speech.
कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई में जनता कर्फ्यू से लेकर आज तक हम सभी भारतवासियों ने बहुत लंबा सफर तय किया है। समय के साथ आर्थिक गतिविधियों में भी धीरे धीरे तेजी नजर आ रही है। हम में से अधिकांश लोग अपनी जिम्मेदारियों को निभाने के लिए फिर से जीवन को गति देने के लिए रोज घरों से बाहर निकल रहे हैं। त्योहारों के इस मौसम में बाजारों में भी रौनक धीरे धीरे लौट रही है।
One can divide the Prime Minister's speech into basically three parts. A, he has seen the videos of violations. He's appealed once again to the people of India not to violate. B, I have a vaccine plan ready, and as soon as the vaccines are ready, every single Indian will get it very, very quickly. And C, the smallest violations during this upcoming festive season will dent and damage India's fight after what has been a very bruising time under lockdown. So the Prime Minister issuing a warning with a tone of empathy, saying this has been a tough fight for everyone. We are emerging. The numbers have started to stabilize in just the smallest way, but nobody can think even for a moment that the fight against coronavirus is over. The Prime Minister very, very clear that the fight is far from over. Okay, let's go for a moment to Rahul Srivastava, our National Affairs Editor. Rahul, as we were discussing, a big appeal from the Prime Minister, very brief speech like you pointed out correctly as well, ahead of the festive season. No time for complacence, no time to loosen the guard. The fight is far from over. A direct appeal to the people of India. The fight is far from over. Don't make the smallest violations of COVID-19. The vaccine is coming and you will all get it very soon.
I think, Shiv, few points which I pick up from the speech, it's my interpretation, that one address to the nation is an address to the nation. It's not an ordinary speech by a leader. It gains a certain amount of traction on the ground. It is seen by much larger number of people than a speech delivered at some function or an event. And that's why the Prime Minister has positioned himself. That positioning is very clear. That the second element is that if you notice, which I had said earlier, that in the government there is an assessment that there is certain amount of fatigue creeping in as far as the level of caution and the protocol adherence is concerned vis-a-vis COVID-19 battle. And each person needs to be much as equally engaged as they used to be few months back. And that's what the Prime Minister said, that the illness or the pandemic is not going anywhere. The virus is still around and you need to follow the protocols. And if you don't, you are risking people. One very important element, Shiv, if you notice, that the Prime Minister's warning comes at a time. That line when he mentions that in several countries like US and others, cases are rising yet again. Now, what has happened is that schools have opened. The second is certain more business establishments have opened. A festival season is coming. An election is coming. Now, in that scenario, if there is a spurt, as far as the number of COVID cases is concerned, there is a political fallout which will happen, and the sense of warning the Prime Minister has created today is largely to address that. What the Prime Minister has done, that in case there is a spurt in future and people don't get really cautioned, then the political weight of that rise in the number of cases will lie squarely at the doors of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. And that is why he has chosen this moment to warn and caution the people that they need to continue following all the protocols which are there. And then I don't miss, as a political journalist, the mention of Chhath as far as the festivities and the wishes of the Prime Minister are concerned, because Bihar is one place where Chhath is really celebrated.
Absolutely. A note of warning, a note of appeal, a note of pleading practically with the citizens of India that they cannot afford to let their guard down at this late stage in the fight against coronavirus, and also a tone of empathy and assurance to every citizen of India that while the fight is far from over, the end may be in sight, at least as far as the vaccine is concerned. This has been a difficult time for everyone in the lockdown, in this pandemic. And what the Prime Minister has basically done today is address two things. One, complacence as far as the festive season is concerned, people going out partying. He specifically mentioned that he had seen some of those videos, and I imagine these must be the videos of the political rallies as well as the stories that have been playing out here on India Today. Take a look at what the Prime Minister said.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, नमस्कार। कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई में जनता कर्फ्यू से लेकर आज तक हम सभी भारतवासियों ने बहुत लंबा सफर तय किया है। समय के साथ आर्थिक गतिविधियों में भी धीरे धीरे तेजी नजर आ रही है। हम में से अधिकांश लोग अपनी जिम्मेदारियों को निभाने के लिए, फिर से जीवन को गति देने के लिए रोज घरों से बाहर निकल रहे हैं। त्योहारों के इस मौसम में बाजारों में भी रौनक धीरे धीरे लौट रही है, लेकिन हमें ये भूलना नहीं है कि लॉकडाउन भले चला गया हो, वायरस नहीं गया है। बीते 7-8 महीनों में प्रत्येक भारतीय के प्रयास से भारत आज जिस संभली हुई स्थिति में है, हमें उसे बिगड़ने नहीं देना है और अधिक सुधार करना है। आज देश में रिकवरी रेट अच्छी है, फैटेलिटी रेट कम है। भारत में जहां प्रति 10 लाख जनसंख्या पर करीब 5,500 लोगों को कोरोना हुआ है, वहीं अमेरिका और ब्राजील जैसे देशों में ये आंकड़ा 25,000 के करीब है। भारत में प्रति 10 लाख लोगों में मृत्यु दर 83 है, जबकि अमेरिका, ब्राजील, स्पेन, ब्रिटेन जैसे अनेक देशों में ये आंकड़ा 600 के पार है। दुनिया के साधन संपन्न देशों की तुलना में भारत अपने ज्यादा से ज्यादा नागरिकों का जीवन बचाने में सफल हो रहा है। आज हमारे देश में कोरोना मरीजों के लिए 90 लाख से ज्यादा बेड्स की सुविधा उपलब्ध है। 12,000 क्वारंटाइन सेंटर्स है। कोरोना टेस्टिंग की करीब 2,000 लैब्स काम कर रही है। देश में टेस्ट की संख्या जल्द ही 10 करोड़ के आंकड़े को पार कर जाएगी। कोविड महामारी के खिलाफ लड़ाई में टेस्ट की बढ़ती संख्या हमारी एक बड़ी ताकत रही है। सेवा परमो धर्म के मंत्र पर चलते हुए हमारे डॉक्टर, हमारे नर्सिस, हमारे हेल्थ वर्कर्स, हमारे सुरक्षाकर्मी और भी सेवा के भाव से काम करने वाले लोग इतनी बड़ी आबादी की निस्वार्थ सेवा कर रहे हैं। इन सभी प्रयासों के बीच ये समय लापरवाह होने का नहीं है। ये समय ये मान लेने का नहीं है कि कोरोना चला गया या फिर अब कोरोना से कोई खतरा नहीं है। हाल के दिनों में हम सब ने बहुत सी तस्वीरें, वीडियो देखे हैं जिनमें साफ दिखता है कि कई लोगों ने अब सावधानी बरतना या तो बंद कर दिया है या बहुत ढिलाई ले आए हैं। ये बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है। अगर आप लापरवाही बरत रहे हैं, बिना मास्क के बाहर निकल रहे हैं, तो आप अपने आप को, अपने परिवार को अपने परिवार के बच्चों को, बुजुर्गों को उतने ही बड़े संकट में डाल रहे हैं। आप ध्यान रखिए, आज अमेरिका हो या फिर यूरोप के दूसरे देश, इन देशों में कोरोना के मामले कम हो रहे थे, लेकिन अचानक से फिर से बढ़ने लगे हैं और चिंताजनक वृद्धि हो रही है। साथियों, संत कबीरदास जी ने कहा है, पक्की खेती देख के गर्व किया किसान, अजहू जोला बहुत है, घर आवे तब जान। अर्थात कई बार हम पकी हुई फसल देखकर ही अति आत्मविश्वास से भर जाते हैं कि अब तो काम हो गया, लेकिन जब तक फसल घर न आ जाए तब तक काम पूरा नहीं मानना चाहिए। यही कबीरदास जी कह के गए हैं। यानी जब तक सफलता पूरी न मिल जाए, लापरवाही नहीं करनी चाहिए। साथियों, जब तक इस महामारी की वैक्सीन नहीं आ जाती, हमें कोरोना से अपनी लड़ाई को रत्ती भर भी कमजोर नहीं पड़ने देना है। बरसों बाद हम ऐसा होता देख रहे हैं कि मानवता को बचाने के लिए युद्ध स्तर पर पूरी दुनिया में काम हो रहा है। अनेक देश इसके लिए काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे देश के वैज्ञानिक भी वैक्सीन के लिए जी जान से जुटे हैं। भारत में अभी कोरोना की कई वैक्सीन पर काम चल रहा है। इनमें कुछ एडवांस स्टेज पर है, आशास्पद स्थिति दिखती है। साथियों, कोरोना की वैक्सीन जब भी आएगी, वो जल्द से जल्द प्रत्येक भारतीय तक कैसे पहुंचे, इसके लिए भी सरकार की तैयारी जारी है। एक एक नागरिक तक वैक्सीन पहुंचे, इसके लिए तेजी से काम हो रहा है। साथियों, रामचरितमानस में बहुत ही शिक्षाप्रद बातें हैं, सीखने जैसी बातें हैं, लेकिन साथ साथ अनेक प्रकार की चेतावनियां भी हैं। जैसे रामचरितमानस में बहुत बड़ी बात कही गई है, रिपु रुज पावक पाप। रिपु रुज पावक पाप, प्रभु अहि गनीय न छोट करी। अर्थात आग, शत्रु, पाप यानी कि गलती और बीमारी, इन्हें कभी छोटा नहीं समझना चाहिए। जब तक इनका पूरा इलाज न हो जाए, इन्हें हल्के में नहीं लेना चाहिए। इसलिए याद रखिए, जब तक दवाई नहीं, तब तक ढिलाई नहीं। त्योहारों का समय हमारे जीवन में खुशियों का समय है, उल्लास का समय है। एक कठिन समय से निकलकर हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। थोड़ी सी लापरवाही हमारी गति को रोक सकती है, हमारी खुशियों को धूमिल कर सकती है। जीवन की जिम्मेदारियों को निभाना और सतर्कता, ये दोनों साथ साथ चलेंगे, तभी जीवन में खुशियां बनी रहेगी। 2 गज की दूरी, समय समय पर साबुन से हाथ धुलना और मास्क लगाना, इसका ध्यान रखिए। और मैं आप सबसे करबद्ध प्रार्थना करता हूं, आपको मैं सुरक्षित देखना चाहता हूं, आपके परिवार को सुखी देना चाहता हूं। ये त्योहार आपके जीवन में उत्साह और उमंग भरे ऐसा वातावरण चाहता हूं। और इसलिए मैं बार बार हर देशवासी से आग्रह करता हूं। मैं आज अपने मीडिया के साथियों से भी, सोशल मीडिया में जो सक्रिय हैं उन लोगों से भी बड़े आग्रह से कहना चाहता हूं कि आप जागरूकता लाने के लिए, इन नियमों का पालन करने के लिए जितना जन जागरण अभियान करेंगे, ये आपकी तरफ से देश की बहुत बड़ी सेवा होगी। आप जरूर हमें साथ दीजिए, देश के कोटि कोटि जनों को साथ दीजिए। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, स्वस्थ रहिए, तेज गति से आगे बढ़िए और हम सब मिलकर के देश को भी आगे बढ़ाएं। इन्हीं शुभकामनाओं के साथ नवरात्र, दशहरा, ईद, दीपावली, छठ पूजा, गुरु नानक जयंती समेत सभी त्योहारों की सभी देशवासियों को एक बार फिर से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। धन्यवाद।
Joining us live here on India Today, we're privileged to have Dr. Naresh Trehan, Chairman and Managing Director of Medanta and one of India's best-known healthcare professionals. Dr. Trehan, good evening to you, sir. I know you did hear what the Prime Minister said. What did you think of it? How important was the Prime Minister's message, sir, at this point of time? Dr. Trehan, can you hear me? Okay, we're just going to fix that audio in just a moment. Dr. Trehan is live with us to take a couple of questions, a reaction on what the Prime Minister has said. Like we told you here on India Today, it was a brief speech where the Prime Minister has appealed to each and every citizen of the country, saying that there is no time and no excuse for complacence at this time. It's been many months of lockdown, and indifference of any kind, violations of any kind, will only damage India's fight against coronavirus. He talked about how the recovery rate was good, the fatality rate was low, but that the fight against coronavirus is far from over. Dr. Trehan, can you hear me, sir? Okay, we're just getting that audio corrected with Dr. Trehan because people from all over the country and the world will be wanting to know about what Dr. Trehan thinks about the Prime Minister's message that comes at a very crucial time for India's COVID-19 fight. In the meantime, Rahul Srivastava, our National Affairs Editor, continues to be with us. Rahul, any reactions that you're picking up from the political landscape on what the Prime Minister said today?
What I'd like to tell you that I've spoken to certain senior officials in the government, and what they are saying, that do not miss the import of the message. Do not miss the point that the Prime Minister made in his speech, the very important point that slowly there is a sense of recovery of the economy, and then that that some bit of activity is returning and joy is returning to the markets. I think the Prime Minister's message is a kind of a huge sense of caution, primarily because I think there is a worry in the government that the festive season and the election and the kind of fatigue which the Prime Minister spoke about in his message could lead to a spurt, and that might force the hands of the governments, both at the state level and the central level, to go in for greater restrictions, which have been eased because of the restrictions, and that has led to these green shoots of economic activity. And I think that's where the government Prime Minister went on for a live address, so that he can caution the people that any kind of slippages or letting down the guard can lead to a situation which may lead to rise in the number of cases, and that may lead to restrictions and lockdowns which may hurt the economic activity. There is a huge sense of worry in the government that any kind of spurt in the number of cases can have cataclysmic impact on the economics of the country, because we see that GST is down, tax collections is
Absolutely.
lower, expenses are going up, expenditure on several heads as far as the government working is down. And that's where lies the worry, that any spurt in a number of cases can impede economic activity, the green shoots which are appearing both in terms of industry, corporates and in the markets, and that the government of the day cannot afford. It may have a huge political fallout, both in terms of battle against the COVID, the political fallout of that, and an economic setback. The Prime Minister went on record basically warning that any kind of slippages or letting guard can hurt the economy and can hurt the country's efforts for a revival.
Absolutely. And I hope Dr. Trehan can hear me now. Dr. Trehan, if you can hear me, sir,
yes,
your view on the importance of the Prime Minister's speech at this point of time, sir.
So, this was quite timely actually, because we are at an inflection point right now.
Yeah.
If you have noticed that in the last 5 to 7 days, there has been a progressive decline in the number of cases reported in the country, which from almost 1 lakh a day, it has come down to around 50,000. So we are in a point where we are in a good spot, where if we continue our efforts, and basically it depends on the public. If the public will discipline itself into masking, distancing and hand washing, which everybody is saying again and again, and the Prime Minister stressed it today, especially before the festive season. Now we are, it's very difficult at this juncture for the people also, because there is a lot of COVID fatigue. There is basically a kind of a captive craziness going on. And then there is the attraction of gatherings for during this festival, where everybody is joyful and wants to do something. Well, we have to exercise caution at this moment and use our brains to actually keep ourselves safe.
Yes.
So if nobody's saying don't go out. First of all, try to stay in the open space. Keep your distance and mask most definitely. So if you do that, that's the best you can do and still be able to do some activity, participation. So large gatherings, I would say if you want very close friends, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at a distance with each other in an open space, the weather is beautiful nowadays, at least in this part of the world, then we have that opportunity to release that craziness or that cabin fever that people are experiencing, and be able to still keep yourself safe. And not only keep yourself safe, the basic thing is not to spread it to other people.
Yes.
So basically, in the beginning we said that the RO factor, that means the infectivity factor of this virus, is 3. That means each individual who gets it is likely to spread it to 3 people. So if that is the case, then it creates a huge problem of it multiplying. But today, with the declining rate, till we reach a level of RO of 1, we should not relax.
Yes.
Or maybe just partial relaxation. So the message came clear from the Prime Minister. I think the timing is right.
Yes.
He stressed it again. It's a good reminder. I hope people will listen to him. The rest of the people have always been saying, the media has been saying, all the celebrities have been saying,
absolutely,
please mask, please keep distance. But this will reinforce that message. And I hope it is taken seriously by the public.
I hope so too. Dr. Trehan, also interestingly, the Prime Minister also, mentioned that he has seen many of the videos, that have been going viral in several parts of the country of violations, political rallies, nightclubs, people thronging marketplaces and shops, which have led to a crackdown. And he seemed quite disturbed about it. He said, a smallest violation of this kind could completely undo many of the good things that India has done to keep the recovery rate high and the fatality rate low. In your professional view, sir, with this upcoming festive season, how easily could all that good work be undone? Would it just be a handful of violations that could cause a lot of damage?
It would be a real pity, because like I said, we have reached a decent spot right now where the curve is coming down.
Yeah.
Now, if we go and do something which is mindless and ignore the fact that the virus is still here in its full infectivity, people are suffering around, and if you still don't take care, there is something wrong with the people's thinking. So I think the way to do it is to keep reinforcing the message again and again and say that, look, we are getting better, our economy is getting better, lives are getting better, the stress factor is less, but you cannot let your guard down. And there are multiple examples from around the world. Whichever country did not exercise this caution is experiencing the second or third wave. People are now in the grip of another spike, which is actually devastating to them and to the economy and to the country as a whole. So all of Europe is suffering right now.
Yeah.
America was always suffering. And I hope, and really, I want to say it again and again to the people that please do not abuse this very three things that we are talking about. It's not something big to do. It's easy to wear a mask.
Yeah.
It's easy to stay away from people. 3 to 6 feet away is essential. And also sanitize your hands. That's not asking for much. Beyond that, you will not spread it to your family, to your community, to your elders. Because what we are seeing is that the young people believe that they may get it or they are invincible, but they will just go through it and they'll be fine. Let me tell you, 50% of the people who have gotten it are young. A large number of them have had severe cases.
Yes.
There have been multiple deaths. So there is no such thing as comfort that you are young. So there is a double jeopardy. One, you are in danger, and then you endanger the elderly in your family, the children in your family, and then you never forgive yourself. We are seeing this every day, where patients' families are coming. Young people are saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I gave it to," but how do I? They will never overcome the fact that they gave something to their parents who never recovered.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things, and we are now not only experiencing that. What we are also experiencing is the post-COVID syndrome. People who have got it, recovered, and they are going through very severe problems post-COVID recovery. So, the hearts are getting affected, kidneys are getting affected, lungs, of course, are getting affected. So even the young people, if you're going to be crippled for the rest of your life, is not a very nice thing to happen. So please, everybody, go through the same rigor of discipline that we have been advising, and the Prime Minister requested even today.
Dr. Trehan, final question. The COVID fatigue that you were talking about is also obviously front and center on the Prime Minister's mind when he made this appeal, because he also made it a point to talk about the vaccine. He said the vaccine, the scientists, including in the country, are toiling day and night towards the vaccine. And he also had a message of reassurance for every citizen saying, don't worry, when the vaccine comes, we have a plan ready to roll it out at the fastest. So he did announce that national plan. How important was this message of assurance as far as the vaccine was concerned, Dr. Trehan?
Well, coming from the Prime Minister and telling you that, look, there is a lot of preparation on the ground and that we have thought of it already and we are going to try to, we know our population is large and in remote areas. I'm familiar with the planning that's going on. Execution will be a humongous task, but the fact that the plans are already well along and the ground arrangements or thought process is complete, I hope the vaccine comes soon, and then we may be able to overcome this whole horrible thing that everybody is going through. But you're right. I think the message is that when the vaccine arrives,
yes,
it's a cold chain vaccine. It has to be injected by injection. We are, like I head the Health Sector Skill Council, we have designed new courses for training the people how to give injections, how to support the doctors and nurses who are authorized to give injections so that they can load the injections and give it to the doctor so that we multiply the speed. The cold chain has been established. So all the things are actually, there's a lot of discussion on this right now. And I'm glad it's happening because I'm sure it'll come. So when it comes, we should not waste any time.
And all of this, Dr. Trehan, and I promise this is the final question because I know you're busy, is, you know, a reminder of how big this country is and how many people we have in this country. You know, every aspect of this discussion is really a reminder of the huge population that needs to be taken care of once the vaccine arrives. And that's perhaps why the Prime Minister also said to, I'm appealing to every citizen that when you follow COVID rules, it is like national service. This is a recognition that we can't have law enforcement, ensuring no COVID violations. Ultimately, it has to come down to each and every individual, sir.
So you understand your responsibility.
Yeah.
To yourself, to your community, to your country. So the healthcare workers are on the front line. They are doing their job. If you don't appreciate what they are doing and you don't even care that you're going to protect yourself and people around you, then there is something absolutely wrong in your thinking. So I would say, please recalibrate, go back to masking, distancing, and hand washing. The fact is that it will be a mammoth effort for us for two things. If people get careless and too many people get sick again, the second peak comes, we'll have a very, very hard time and they will be held to pay. Provided we protect ourselves and the vaccine arrives, it's again a mammoth task to get everybody vaccinated, but that's the way we should go and save our energies to spend on vaccination rather than getting sick right now.
Dr. Naresh Trehan, always a pleasure listening to you, sir. Thank you so much for sparing the time and giving us your words here on India Today. That was the Prime Minister's speech to the country. Dr. Naresh Trehan saying that this was an appeal and a request and a very timely message from the Prime Minister because this is an inflection point as far as India's COVID-19 fight is concerned. We're taking a very quick break. Don't forget to come right back because at 7 p.m. here on India Today, we've got the big Bihar opinion poll. An election right in the middle of the pandemic is happening in Bihar, and the most definitive, authoritative opinion poll with Rahul and Rajdeep comes up at 7 p.m. Don't miss it. India Today TV, along with 70 other news channels, is a proud member of the News Broadcasters Association since 2007. We strictly follow the code of ethics and guidelines issued by NBSA. Beware of unregulated channels.
For the first time on Indian news television, Shashant's family lawyer Vikas Singh versus Ria's lawyer Satish Manishinde.
CBI hasn't found any evidence to substantiate the theory of murder, which some TV channels have been crying themselves hoarse about.
We were expecting that CBI will not give so much of importance to our case, and that is what exactly is happening.
CBI has gone back to Delhi and they are going to take their own steps. It doesn't mean that it's a low priority case.
Both sides of the story, only on the gold standard of journalism. Think Bhojpuri music is the most electrifying thing from Bihar? Try watching its elections.
Ground report, Bihar.
We have to come to the ground here in rural Bihar.
What are the real issues that the people of Patna face? This is Rohit Singh in Kishanganj for India Today.
Vote on Bihar, only on India Today TV.
For more news and updates, you can log on to our website indiatoday.in or download the India Today app now.
So sorry.